When the church is full, make sure you deal with him. I want everybody to see it. Yes, sir.
Soldiers broke into the church while people prayed, screamed, and watched their beloved pastor beaten like a criminal. The church was full that Sunday morning. People were happy, people were clapping, people were singing loudly. The band played fast songs. Women danced with wrappers in their hands. Men shouted "Amen" with strength. Pastor Gideon stood on the altar. He wore a clean white robe. His voice was loud and confident. He smiled as he preached. His wife and kids also in the congregation. He said, "Your blessing is coming." People shouted back, "Amen." Then suddenly, the big church doors opened. Not slowly. They were pushed open with force. Heavy boots hit the floor. Soldiers rushed in, guns in their hands, hard faces, no smiles. Screams filled the air. Some people dropped their Bibles and ran. Some hid under chairs. Some stayed still, shaking, unable to move. The music stopped. The soldiers did not look around. They did not talk to anyone. They walked straight to the altar, straight to Pastor Gideon. Before anyone could understand what was happening, they grabbed him. He shouted, "What is this? I am a man of God." They did not listen. They hit him once, twice, again. He fell to the floor. They kept beating him. His white robe turned red with blood. People cried. Some shouted, "Leave him alone." Others recorded with their phones. Later, people would say the beating was so bad that he lost one of his kidneys. Some said he almost died that day. On the floor near the altar, a woman dropped to her knees. Her name was Amara. She was heavily pregnant. Her big belly touched the ground as she cried. She crawled closer to the soldiers. Tears ran down her face. She begged, "Please, stop. Please, he is a man of God." She held one soldier's leg. He pushed her away. She fell hard on the floor. Still, she cried. Still, she begged. No one listened. The soldiers lifted Pastor Gideon like a bag. They dragged him away. Blood drops followed them. The doors closed behind them. The church became quiet. Too quiet. People looked at each other. No one spoke. Fear sat in the room. And that was the day everything ended. Before that day, before the soldiers, before the blood, there was a man called Chief Daniel Kareda. Chief Daniel was a powerful politician. Everyone knew his name. People feared him. People respected him. Some people loved him. Some people hated him. But no one ignored him. He had big houses. He had many cars. He had bodyguards. He had power. But he had enemies too. And most of all, he had one deep problem. He had no child. Years passed. No son, no daughter, no heir. For a man like Chief Daniel, this was shame. Not outside, inside, at home. He was married to Amara. Amara was calm. Amara was kind. Amara was beautiful. She did everything right. But the house stayed quiet. No child laughter, no small feet running around. Only silence. Chief Daniel grew angry. Not all at once. Slowly. He blamed Amara in his heart. Sometimes he blamed her with his mouth. Sometimes with his silence. Sometimes with harsh words. He wanted a child. Not because of love, but because of his name. Because of power. Because of pride. Amara wanted a child too, but for a different reason. She wanted love. She wanted peace. She wanted to feel complete. Every night, she cried quietly, so no one would hear. And that was how their journey began. A journey that would lead them to the altar, to Pastor Gideon, and to the day the church. The house was quiet, too quiet. Chief Daniel Karida sat in his big leather chair. He looked at the empty space in the nursery. The crib was there, but no baby cried. No tiny hands reached for him. His wife, Amara, was in the living room, sitting on the couch. She held a cup of tea, but she did not drink. Her eyes were sad. Her hands were still. She looked older than her years, even though she was still young. Daniel wanted a child badly. Not for love, not for laughter, not for happiness. He wanted someone to carry his name, to carry his power, to be proof that he was more than just a politician. Amara wanted a child too, but for different reasons. She wanted love. She wanted someone to hold her hand in the night. She wanted someone to call her mama and mean it. She wanted peace in her heart, a reason to smile in a house that felt like a prison. Years passed. Nothing came. Daniel blamed Amara. He blamed her quietly at first, then with words that cut like knives. "Maybe it is time I get a second wife," he said one night. "I am tired of waiting," he whispered another night, staring at the empty crib. Amara cried silently. She did not want to leave. She loved Daniel in her own way, but she felt helpless. She prayed alone at night, whispering, "God, please help me. Please give me a child." They tried everything. Doctors, hospitals, special treatments, expensive pills. Nothing worked. Then someone told them about Pastor Gideon Blaze. He was famous. He had a big church. He had many followers. He had a family. He had children. He had everything, and people said he could make barren women have children. Daniel did not hesitate. Amara hesitated, but not for long. She was desperate too. They went to the church one Sunday. The church was huge, white walls, big windows, flowers everywhere. People clapped and sang loudly. The pastor wore a clean white suit. He spoke with a strong voice. He looked like a man chosen by God. They sat in the front row. Daniel gave a big donation. Amara gave money too. She watched the pastor as he prayed. She felt a little hope. Pastor Gideon noticed them and he smiled. He said things that made Daniel feel powerful. He said things that made Amara feel chosen. He prayed for them loudly. He touched their hands and he nodded and said, "Your miracle is coming. You will be blessed. Your home will be filled with joy." Amara wanted to believe him. Daniel wanted to believe him. The pastor's wife, Ruth Blaze, came over to greet them. She hugged Amara. She smiled warmly. She told her stories of women who could not have children and later had babies. Amara felt like maybe, just maybe, she could be next. After that day, Daniel and Amara came every Sunday. They gave more donations for the church and pastor. They sat in the front row. They clapped. They danced. They prayed. They begged God with all their hearts. And Pastor Gideon smiled. He knew how desperate they were. He knew how far they would go, and he was ready to take advantage of it. But no one knew what he was planning yet, because sometimes miracles are not what they seem, and sometimes the house without a child is the first step toward a house filled with secrets. She was not supposed to be there alone, but the door closed behind her, and the night swallowed her cries. Amara stood outside the church late one night. The street lights flickered. Her stomach was tense. She held her purse tight. Her heart was pounding. Pastor Gideon had told her This night prayer was very special. Some miracles only happen at night, he said. Your husband should not come. He might block the blessing. Amara wanted to say no. She wanted to run, but hope had taken control of her heart. She wanted a child so badly. The years of empty cribs and silent nurseries had made her desperate. She walked into the quiet church. The hall smelled of incense. The candles flickered. Shadows danced on the walls. She could hear her own breathing. Pastor Gideon stood by the altar. His white robe glowed in the candlelight. He smiled at her. Amara, come. Tonight your womb will open. Tonight God will bless you. She knelt on the floor. She prayed. She cried. She begged God to help her. He moved closer. He placed his hand on her shoulder. His voice was soft. You are chosen. You are special. I can feel God walking through you. She felt warmth. She felt safe. She felt hope. And slowly, she started to trust him more than she had trusted anyone in years. Days passed. Weeks passed. The night prayers became routine. She came alone. She gave him her attention. She told her her fears, her sadness, her dreams. He listened. He smiled. He encouraged her. He said she was beautiful, brave, and blessed. Amara's heart began to grow feelings she could not name. She felt seen. She felt cared for. She felt alive. Pastor Gideon noticed too. He saw her beauty. He saw her kindness. He began to feel something he told himself was spiritual connection. One night, he asked her to do a special obedience prayer. It is part of God's plan, he whispered. Amara hesitated. Her mind screamed, but her heart whispered back, trust him, he is helping you. She obeyed. It happened more than once. Each night, both of them alone on the bed. The church hall was empty. Only candles and shadows were witnesses. Only the sound of them doing it was heard. Amara felt guilty. She felt ashamed, but she told herself, this is the only way. This is the miracle I have been waiting for. Then, one morning, the world changed. She woke up, and her stomach felt different, strange, light, heavy, alive. She went to the doctor. The test said the word she had waited years to hear, pregnant. She ran to Daniel with tears in her eyes. He smiled. He hugged her. He shouted with joy, finally, our child. The news spread to the church. People danced. People clapped. People shouted, Amen. Pastor Gideon smiled. He accepted more donations. He accepted praise. People called him a miracle worker. Amara tried to smile too, but inside a storm was growing. She remembered the nights alone with Pastor Gideon. She remembered how her heart had fluttered in ways she did not understand. And deep down, she feared what the truth might one day bring. Because miracles are not always what they seem, and some blessings come with a price too high to imagine. The envelope sat on Daniel's desk. He opened it slowly. His hand did not shake, but his heart pounded like thunder. Chief Daniel Karida had never felt nervous like this, not even during elections, not even when angry rivals threatened him. But this felt different. He looked at the papers inside the envelope, a DNA test. Quietly, he had ordered it a few weeks ago. He told no one, not Amara, not Pastor Gideon, not even his closest aides. He compared the dates in his mind. Nights he remembered Amara being at the church. Nights he remembered her being at home. Something did not fit. Something felt wrong. He read the results slowly. 1 line, 2 lines. Then the words that made his blood cold. The child is not related to Chief Daniel Karida. He put down the paper. He did not shout. He did not cry. He did not even stand. He just stared at the ceiling and thought. He was calm. Too calm. He picked up his phone. He called his closest officer. Make sure the church is under surveillance. Freeze accounts if possible. And get soldiers ready. Quietly. No mistakes. No one knew what he was planning. The calm before the storm. Amara's belly had grown heavy now. She walked with care. People in the house praised her. She smiled. Daniel smiled. They told friends and family the baby was almost a miracle. She had no idea what Daniel knew. She trusted him. She trusted the church. She trusted Pastor Gideon. Pastor Gideon was confident. He smiled at her belly. He hugged her. See, God answered our prayers, he said. People in the church were giving money. They were celebrating. They were clapping and shouting amen. Pastor Gideon did not know that the calm outside hid a storm inside. It started quietly. Government officers arrived at the church. They wore black suits. They walked in slowly. They closed the gates. People tried to enter. People tried to leave. They were blocked. Phones started ringing with news. The pastor's accounts were frozen. The church's money could not move. Then the soldiers came. They entered with guns and boots. Their faces were hard. No one smiled. No one talked. Pastor Gideon came out to greet them. "What is this? I have done nothing wrong," he shouted. But the soldiers did not answer. They grabbed him. They hit him hard. They beat him until he fell. Blood flowed. His white robe turned red. His screams echoed in the church hall. Some ran. Some hid. Some watched in shock. And there on the floor was Amara. She screamed. She begged the soldiers, "Please, stop. He is a man of God." They did not stop. The secrets uncovered. They took his phone. They found messages, texts, pictures, videos between Amara and the pastor. Secrets Pastor Gideon thought no one would see. His wife, Ruth Blaze, was called. She arrived. She held her children. Her face went pale when she saw the messages. She could not speak. She could not cry. She ran out with her children, humiliated and heartbroken. Pastor Gideon was dragged out like a criminal. People whispered in fear. People whispered in disbelief. The man they trusted, the man they believed could perform miracles, had been exposed. Amara stayed on the floor. Her heavy belly pressed against the tiles. She wept quietly. She held her hands to her mouth. She could not believe the life she thought she had was built on lies. And outside, Chief Daniel watched silently, calm, patient, planning the next move. Because justice, for him, was just beginning. Amara sat on the small wooden chair, her hands holding her baby tightly, while the world outside whispered and shouted her shame. After the chaos at the church, life changed for everyone. Pastor Gideon had lost everything. His big church was empty. His accounts were frozen. His white suits were gone. His followers had turned away. They whispered about him, called him a liar, a fraud, a man who pretended to be holy. His children stayed with his wife, Ruth, who left him quietly, too ashamed to speak of what her husband had done. He sat in a small jail cell now. No sermons, no clapping, no amen. Only silence, only cold walls, only time to think. And think he did. but it was too late. Amara's life. Amara's life became quiet, too quiet. Chief Daniel had rejected her, not with words, not with anger, but with cold, silent decisions. He divorced her quietly, sent her away, and married another woman. Amara went to a small apartment, far from the big house, far from the gossiping eyes of people who had once celebrated her pregnancy. The apartment was empty, but it was hers, safe, alone. She gave birth to her child there, without celebration, without family around, without the man she thought loved her. People whispered about her. They said she had been unfaithful. They called her names. Some even laughed at her. She cried quietly. She held her baby close. She whispered promises she had made in her heart. I will take care of you. I will love you. No matter what they say, I will be here. Even though people blamed her, even though her life had fallen apart, she felt something in her chest, something soft, something alive. Her baby's small hand wrapped around her finger, and for the first time in months, she smiled. The price of power. Chief Daniel stayed powerful. He did not cry. He did not show mercy. He continued his life in the spotlight. Politicians praised him. People feared him. He married a new woman. He had children. His legacy continued. But even he sometimes looked at the empty house and wondered. Amara's absence, the secret she carried, and the betrayal he had suffered were all paid in silence. Justice was done in public, but life's price was still heavy. The end for Pastor Gideon. Pastor Gideon lost more than money. He lost respect, family, reputation, and followers. He sat in prison, thinking of nights filled with lies, of Amara's trust he had destroyed, of Ruth's disappointment, and of all the prayers he had twisted for his own pleasure. He realized too late that no amount of popularity or money could save him from the truth. A quiet hope. Amara sat in her small room, the baby in her arms. She looked at the little face, soft and warm, and whispered, I was not looking for a miracle. I was only looking for hope. Her hope was her child, her love, her strength. The past could not touch her anymore. The lies, the betrayal, the shame, they were behind her. She closed her eyes. She breathed. She smiled. And for the first time, she felt free. The world outside still whispered, still judged, still blamed her. But inside that small room, she had everything that mattered. And that was enough. The end.